Hello everyone and welcome to a very cold, a very wet, but no less exciting Bielsko-Biala here in Poland, where the first ever UCI Downhill World Cup last chance qualifier session is underway for the elite women. My name's Rick McLaughlin. Joining me in the booth for this little moment of downhill history, I am happy, I'm proud to say, is my good friend and colleague Josh Carlson. Josh, the sport has never seen the like of this before.
No, I think there's been a lot of chatter about this. Thanks, Rick. It's very, very exciting to be here. I think the chatter around this new qualification schedule, I mean, it's been on everyone's mind. We've been talking about it a lot, but the realization that has happened today has really shown what the impact this is going to have. It's going to have on the riders' mental ability. Now we're seeing conditions that are dramatically different than anyone has seen throughout the week. And all of a sudden, the implications of this last chance qualifier are as dramatic as it gets.
This was already quite a complicated day. I should say the rider on your screen currently is Karolina Kadlekova from the Czech Republic. So if you're new to downhill racing, for a long, long time, we've had what's called the protected riders rules, where basically based on your performances last season, you were guaranteed safe passage through the finals. That has gone. We had a Q1 session earlier on today where the top 10 elite women, the fastest 10 in that session, would go through to the finals. The rest of the field have to ride again. Kadlekova looking like she is being caught by the rider behind her, who will be Vicky Clavel, Scott Downhill Factory rider. So the days of being able to rest on your laurels and your reputation, there is Clavel, is going to catch the Czech in front of her.
Clavel had an issue in qualification where she lost a chain and came down with quite the mechanical, so obviously making up for it here now.
Yeah. On that new Scott bike, looking really, really fast through there, Clavel.
Wow.
Going really, really well. So Josh, the fastest 5 elite women from this session will progress to the finals, but they have had the added physical and almost the mental side of this LCQ will be more fatiguing. It's a big ask to up your game again, isn't it? It's
a big ask to up your game again. And the stress, I mean, as soon as it rains, it gets muddy, the course changes. It adds a level of stress that's makes me quite happy to be retired, to be honest. But it adds a whole level of stress, not only to the rider, to the mental ability, but the team now. The teams have to reset. They have to clean the bikes. Now, do they need to change tyres? A lot of riders were on the fence about a full mud or a mid-mud. Now, the conditions, as you can see, are diabolical. So
it's a difficult track for a full mud tyre as well. What we mean by that, of course, is a full-length spike tyre, a lot of space between them to shed the mud, but you've got quite a flat section in the middle of it as well. Just through here, there's another bit as well where a full spike is going to lose you time because it's going to drag quite a lot.
Interestingly, we can see that Vicky is coming down and not opting for the big jumps. There's quite a lot of wind out on the course right now, and that big heavy mud tyre, it rolls a lot slower. So that extra speed now that the track is so soft and so slow really affects the ability to get off the ground, for one, and carry that extra pace. This track wasn't that pedally during the week for practice because as it was running faster and faster, but now the riders are pedaling everywhere.
Let's get Vicky Clavel down the line then for our benchmark time, a 3:52.7. So Clavel has a long wait now, a few riders to go after her. You can see the rain on the goggle lens. Back up to the top, a rider who was not happy with having to go back to the top, Sasha Ernest, at the bottom of Q1 today, visibly upset that she was going to have to lift herself up by the bootstraps and head back up there again. The Kiwi pinner. Ernest, huge, huge talent, up into elites this season.
And a great performance last year in the juniors. So one of those rising stars that we've seen. She's really stepped up to the Trek Factory Racing roster as our elite woman this year. But again, an extra level of stress. I mean, for our junior athletes stepping up, or we should say our rookies, probably a good thing, an extra time on the track until the sky falls down.
Yeah, I mean, today was already fraught with complication before the weather moved in here to Bielsko-Biala. We've had heavy rain showers, very windy conditions at the top. If I look out the commentary window booth, she's 0.5 of a second up at the first split. So Ernest needs a good performance here.
And to make it first round, new team, elite, this is a big step. She's got to not only overcome this Q2, She's got to make the show. So right now, this is her final.
So 10th place, the last qualifier from the first qualifying session, Camille Balanche, qualified with a time of 3:48.1. Just for some reference for you, this is the big wide left-hander of our Valentina Hole. Came a cropper last season. Slightly
drier. I mean, the elite women came down earlier today and the conditions were dramatically different to now. We've had quite a heavy rain shower come across the hill, and as you can see in the mud, the slipperiness, these rocks through this particular section on screen here is as slippery as it can get when it was dry.
And one of the things I have been quite enjoying here, Josh, is that the course is like, it's 1.3 seconds faster now, Ernest, than that time off Clavel, so it's going well so far for the Kiwi. I mean, virtually unchanged this track, which means the comparisons to last year are actually really, really useful. You get a good idea of the time, average speed for the elite riders.
And if anything, they've made it slightly faster. So there's a couple of sections down below that last year held up a lot of speed, caused the riders to sprint. They had to really pay attention to a couple of awkward corners. Now the speeds went up. It's a little bit more straight-lined. They are aware of this track. It's not brand new.
2/10 back.
And now they can focus on the course at hand. But the conditions, look at the conditions.
Yeah.
And this week, it's been evolving, not even by the day, by the hour.
Sasha Ernest has lost time here. 1.5 seconds has gone the way of Vicky Clavel, currently in the hot seat. And the rider headed towards the finals. So yeah, just to re-emphasize then, 10 riders already through from the Elite Women's Q1 session. We will take the fastest 5 from this last chance qualifier LCQ session through the finals tomorrow here in Sturt Mountain Resort. I mean, it's absolutely biblical looking up there. The minute Ernest gets bucked on the face of that jump, manages to get her feet back on the pedals. That was nearly a huge one.
Almost straight out the front door, right towards the end. You can feel her heart rate coming through her mouth like it's almost coming through mine right there. Wow, what a scenario.
We are sat on quite a rickety bench here, and another one of them, the two of us could disappear back off it, but
I'm going to seesaw you straight off this thing if that happens again. Look at this massive Michelin section here.
Seconds back now at split 4 for Ernest. And yeah, it's a completely changed Trek Factory Racing roster as well, Josh. A big clear out of riders at the end of last season. Ernest has stayed with the factory effort, stepped up into elites as she gets on the gas, heads down towards the line, and will cross the beam with a time of 3:54.2, 1.4 seconds back on Clavel. So again, the 3:48.1 was a 10th place qualifying time from Q1.
Good to see Michaela Parton up there in second place for the moment. She had a bit of an issue in Q1, and she was one of the riders we saw come down the hill to say that she was looking forward to the opportunity to go again. She made a couple of mistakes, and usually she doesn't get a chance, but now, second opportunity.
Here we go, Phoebe Gale-Lowe for Orbea FMD Racing. This is one of the riders we would have expected to make it through that Q1 session, so there is a bit of pressure on this run. Gale, 6th in the world at the end of last season, but she's 5.4 seconds back here, Josh, at split 3.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there. What's quite interesting here is that a lot of our UK athletes, you would automatically assume they would thrive in these conditions. For the UK, the Northern Hemisphere has had somewhat of a dry winter, so these conditions may be a bit of a...
Look at that time from Baumann, 10 seconds faster than Clavel, currently.
Bit of a shock.
In the hot seat. We didn't get to see her run. 7.7 seconds back for Phoebe Gale for this one. Not going Gale's way at all on that brand new Orbea.
Got the rudder out. Wow, this section is just diabolical in the dry.
She's getting eaten up now, this really steep final section. Amaury Piron taken out by this gap. Earlier on in Q1, we will see him race again in the elite men. Let's get Phoebe Gale across the line. Now, where is she going to stack up? A 3:50.6, 8.5 seconds back for Gale, but crucially, still good enough for second place behind Baumann. So at the minute, Gale heading through to the finals.
And interesting right there, that kicks Sasha Ernest out. So right now, Sasha Ernest will not qualify for our elite finals come Sunday.
Monika Hrasnik on that new Aon Racing team, on the Gamux Sega bike that we've heard so much about this off-season. Where is she going to stop the clock at the first split? 0.3 of a second back, looking good for Hrasnik.
She's in touch.
Really, really light on the bike and really consistent Hrasnik as well across a season. Monika Hrasnik, 8th in the UCI World Cup overall at the end of last season.
You can see just there some of those extra lines that riders have had to adapt to. during the practice sessions during the week, they could run those tighter lines. They could be a little bit more straight line through the corners. Now they're looking for the extra support around the outside, the wider lines, carrying more speed.
Got 12 seconds covering the top 5 here. So 5 will go through to finals. Michaela Parton currently in 5th place.
Quite a dynamic under the brand new Aon Racing tent, where Hattie Harnden qualifying exceptionally in the finals, whereas Monica had to now reset, refocus, and fight just to make the main show. And the same deal with the men's of that team as well.
We know it's an individual sport, but it's a fascinating one whenever you head into those team tents. And Hattie Harnden in there with Monica Hrastnik. Interesting to see how that relationship develops over the course of the season. 2 seconds back for Hrastnik currently at the 2nd split then. So the 4th fastest through there. So that would be enough for Hrastnik, but there's a lot of track still to go.
Huge section here. That one section is one part of the woods that's completely exposed to the elements. Not that it really matters, it's all a mess. But I mean, one bit was wetter than the other earlier.
It is all just looking really chewed up now, isn't it? Last year we saw it very, very wet for qualies and it dried for race day, but it wasn't as wet as this, Josh.
No, definitely not. And now that water, that moisture has gotten into the track, so this is not going to dry. You're looking at conditions that are probably going to maintain like this for the rest of the weekend, so a good indication of what's to come tomorrow. It's not supposed to improve weather-wise, and now the track's gone away. And that's all she wrote for the next 2 days.
And we will see a package of the Bowman run quite shortly as well, which is currently the fastest of the session. 2.5 seconds back at the first. It looks fantastic, grinding across that new bridge section on that gearbox bike. So much talk surrounding gearbox belt-driven bikes this off-season. This is the first time we're getting to see them properly out en masse in anger. So top 5 currently separated by 10.7. And unfortunately, Michaela Parton out of that top 5 will not progress through to finals now. Hrastnik 7.8 seconds back on the time of Bowman. So maybe an issue for Hrastnik there. She certainly seems to be pushing the big gear.
Yeah, definitely a bit of drama as you look back down the field. Millie Onset missing the finals. Sasha Ernest, Michaela Parton, Eleonora Farina will also miss the finals. So, wow, a bit of drama unfolding for our Q2 session this afternoon.
Really nice line there over to the rider's right from Hrastnik as she heads down towards the last right-hander. She'll cross the line. Can she squeak inside that top 5? Monica Hrastnik. Monica Hrastnik does not progress to the finals.
0.1 of a second off of all of the drama up the hill here. It comes down to 0.1 of a second. Incredible.
As we head back to the top, Jenna Hastings for Pivot Factory Racing gets to go again here in the LCQ. The reigning New Zealand national champion as we rejoin her run live down towards the bottom. Can she hit that top 5? Jenna Hastings heads for the line, crosses it and goes into 11th, 12.5 seconds down for the Kiwi. She will not go to the finals for Pivot Factory Racing.
Well, look, a shock on her face just there as she comes across the line. She doesn't look exceptionally dirty. Oh.
It's just such tough going up there. You can feel the stress down there at the minute.
And you can feel the shock. Everyone's so shocked at all the conditions. You can see they're just all like, what? They weren't not expecting that to be so slippery, so
Josh,
wet.
Your background in Enduro, e-Enduro, when the bike gets heavy and all of a sudden it feels like a different animal underneath you, your hands are cold, your vision's blurred. It's a tough, tough call raced against the clock in conditions like this, isn't it?
It's a tough call, and the pressure of this scenario, now they know. And not only is this just a YOLO racing situation, they must make the finals. So there is a very cutthroat scenario playing out here.
Well,
Q2.
Top 5 going through then. Bowman, Newkirk, Vidman, Gale and Bouladou will head through to the finals. The first 5 through from the first UCI Downhill World Cup last chance qualifying session. As we head back up for the first ever UCI Downhill World Cup last chance qualifying session for the elite men. Max Hartenstern, Cube Factory Racing kicks us off. Whoa! Hartenstern leans right into it and gets away with one there, Josh.
Oh, Max, simmer down, Turbo. Wowzers, absolutely throwing zero caution out there. This is Max's moment. So all these people now are fighting for 10 positions. This is their final. You're practically watching their final now to make it into the big show. So Max is first on track. The conditions could not be any worse. And my goodness, he is making them look effortless right now.
Can you imagine what is going on up there at the top? The stress levels, always high in downhill racing, but this is it. You don't get through the session, you're not going to the finals. And if you are one of the many riders on an elite team, whoo.
This is it. This is your moment. This is incredible. And this is such a cool aspect of this brand new schedule. So riders have been protected before, and now they would just breeze through and they would avoid all this drama. Like our privateers have to race all the time.
And it's fair. That is the big thing. If you throw down in Q1 and you are one of the top 20 through to the final, you go and get some dry clothes on, head back to the hotel, put your feet up. If you don't do that, head back onto the gondola and get back up there. So we will take 10 riders through from the session. The fastest 10 will go through here in Sturk Mountain Resort to the finals tomorrow. And we're going to get Max Hartenstern, the German, down the line for our benchmark time. Looking good here, Max.
And interestingly, the riders that win Q2 this afternoon will not qualify fastest. The best they can qualify is 21st. So you are looking at riders that are looking to qualify for rider number 21 to 30. So even though they win, even though their time may be quicker, they will only qualify 21st at best. The top 20 that have progressed from Q1 will be our fastest 20 riders on the hill tomorrow for the finals.
It's going to be fantastic in finals, isn't it? Because you're going to start, there's some big names in this session. Piron, Brosnan, Vergier's in this session, the UCI World Champion having to go again. So the top of that elite men's race is going to be stacked with hitters. Can Max Hartenstern get himself into that big show?
And I think there was a bit of shock around this morning, Rick. Like, I think a lot of these guys came down the hill. Some of them didn't have mistakes. Charlie hadn't had a hugie. Emery Piron had a hugie in the first Q1 session. But a lot of riders felt like they came down the hill pretty good. Andy Kolb was nervous.
We talked to G. Afferton just after that session, and I sort of looked at him and I said, this is a situation you would have loved as a racer. And he smiled at me and he said, it is, but I'm also really glad I don't have to deal with it.
That makes two of us.
Yeah. And it's fantastic because it's no longer about your reputation, what you've done before. This is it. Clock doesn't lie in Q1. And if you're not in that top 20, see you later. Here we go, Hartenstern down the line. Our benchmark time is going to be 3:14.535. So, Loic Bruni's fastest time was a 3:08 earlier on today, and that top 20 cutoff point was a 3:12.4. So the track has changed a bit. It's got a bit wetter. Keep an eye on it. But look, let's not overcomplicate it. Let's just sit back and enjoy this. This is a battle royale here in Poland. Next up, Valtteri Elo from Finland. Flying Finn may be quite happy in these conditions, actually.
Big headwind at the top there, interestingly. A lot of riders opting not to pull for that big step down straight out of the start gate, which again factors in the conditions.
It's a really wind-affected top section, that, isn't it? It's a bit like Fort William in that, like a mini version of Fort William in that respect. That if you manage to leave the start hut just in a dip in the wind, you can gain a couple of seconds. But Elo having a good go at it here. You can see how wet. Anywhere where the trees part is going to be absolutely sodden.
And this pressure and stress is not just loaded onto the riders. Now the teams, they have to get their riders down the hill. There's an extra layer of stress and pressure put on the mechanics now. We've heard a couple of riders like Sean O'Hughes from the Yeti factory team with Richie Rude's bike adding an extra layer of rim tape, slightly different setup to make sure that it does come down the hill and his bike is bulletproof. Those one-off, one-run bike setups now may not work because if you don't make it through, A mechanical could cost you the entire weekend.
And look, we're talking about this from the perspective of the big pros and the big teams. If you're a Valtteri Elo, you've got a big chance here.
Go on then. I saw Valtteri earlier in the week. Wowzers. He was risking it for the biscuit. That was for sure. We saw him almost fold that giant glory underneath him in half on a couple of sections up the track before. So he's been having a big week. This is a big moment for him.
14.8 seconds back Elo then. So it's all in front of him like a wheelbarrow at the minute. But giving us a great look at the track here in Sturk. There was a whisper of sunlight outside the commentary booth there that drew both our eyes, but it's disappeared again, sadly.
I think it was just a floodlight.
42.1 kilometers an hour through the speed trap. 18.9 back at split 3 for Elo.
Such a difficult track to set your bike up for, too. And for our young privateers, our young wildcards, it could not be any more difficult on them.
It's a lot to juggle, isn't it? Because you don't have that support. You don't have to just, hand the bike back to a mechanic and see it again when it's clean, prepped and ready. It's busy time in between these sessions. UCI Enduro World Cup racing, of course, taking place today as well here in Poland. No spoilers on what's happened there, but well worth checking out the race raw later on today. And I can tell you, we've had our 2 minutes warning. 2 minutes until Amaury Pierron sets off Valtteri Elo, just about holding her upright.
Now this section in here, this Michelin corner, these rocks have been wreaking havoc all week. You know what would make it a bit
last
fun?
year, Pierron just sived over to the right-hand side of it. But Elo just coming into the shot, looking a bit slow there. Maybe he's been down.
Oh, wow. That section is like an elevator shaft. That inside line is incredible. We saw a bit of footage from Danny Hart doing the Hayden Deegan overtake.
Danny Hart, another rider coming up as well in this session. So, Elo crossed the line of 3:46.9, 32.3 seconds behind Max Hartenstern. You'd have to think we probably will not see him head towards the finals. Next up, though, Drake Parker. Riding in that USA jersey. Another privateer.
Got a lot of leverage going on there. Drake's looking, swinging off the back of that Commensal as he comes back down the hill. That section there we saw Amaury Pierron paying close attention to during the week. Interesting to see the details that they pay attention to, especially the big riders.
Yeah, interesting to see as well, Pierron had a big crash in Q1 off that final gap and dropped all the way down to the big wooden turn at the bottom of it. So we'll be riding in some pain, Pierron. Hopefully not too much, and pressure really mounting on the former UCI World Cup overall title holder. We see this off-camber corner. Drake Parker just pulling a roll off to get a bit of clear vision as he heads back into the woods. Round that corner, as we said, made famous by Amaury Pierron last time out.
Even pulling a tear off or pulling a roll off on a course like this, they're really...
Oh, that was going wrong for the top of it. I thought maybe Parker had just managed to hold on to it, but no.
Oh, now his hands are covered in that slop.
Oh, here we go. Josh, talk us through it.
Look at him, just gets a little bit unsettled on that early tree stump there, coming in with way too much speed. Now that, I don't know if that would have held in the dry, to be fair.
The bottom of that corner is just looking like an explosion at the porridge bit of the breakfast buffet in our hotel. It's just absolutely gubbed. Here we go, though. Amaury Pierron for Commensal muck-off by Riding Addiction on the double mud tyre here in Sturk. And absolutely really no choice in that matter, Josh. This needs to be fast from Pierron, though.
No choice. All the pressure is on Amaury right now. He was looking absolutely effortless in Q1. He was almost 3 seconds up on everyone else on the track, but had a small laydown at the end of the track, and then a huge get off coming onto the whale tail.
Almost dragged his elbow like Marc Marquez through that rut there. Let's get an intermediate. So he's a 1/10 of a second behind Max Hartenstern.
Taking that outside line there, carrying good speed through the guts. And notice they're not doing that road gap step down. The outside is quicker. He can generate a bit more speed. This Oakley corner here has been absolutely blown to pieces all week. Carrying good speed, but he's back.
He is back just by a 1/10 of a second, though. And reminder, top 10 from this LCQ session will go through. So Piron doesn't necessarily need to win this, but he does need to put a run in that will be up, and it's packed full of hitters this session as well.
Packed full of it. I think there's almost 10 riders in this Q2 session that have won World Cups in the last 1 or 2 seasons. Max was flying in that upper section. He was going so well. So maybe Emery's taking his time. He mentioned how physical this track was. You can really build some time and effort down in the lower section of this course.
Gets a wider entry, doesn't go over that double, gets a nice wide entry into the steep. He's a second down on that time of Max Hartenstern now. Piron in trouble here in Poland.
1 second back. We did hear from the Commensal Markov team. They've got some custom and factory-specific compound tyres from Schwalbe this week, which is specifically designed to work in these cold conditions. Not even just the mud, but the actual temperature.
Piron.
Come on, Emery. He's 1 second back at the moment. Now, this is it. 1 second could disappear with how many hitters we have in this Q2.
It's a steady 1 second. 1 second and 200ths. So, is it going to be good enough for a top 10 in this session to get himself through the finals? Riding through the pain barrier here, Amaury Piron. We haven't had an update on any injuries sustained in that Q1 crash, but I mean, even if he's got nothing broken, it was a huge impact and he will be feeling it.
He's third right now, but there is so many riders. This is not a safe position to go in here.
You can see the red light on the bars from the SRAM flight attendant system. What that is indicating to him.
It looks like he's fighting a little bit, obviously, but he's not looking too effortless down there. He's into his lower section.
He's a second faster than Hartenstern now, so Piron has got a wriggle on. Here's that corner that he smashed last year. Gets around it safely, stays out of the rut to the left-hand side of it. Piron now in control of this session.
Goes to the inside.
The fish is in the boat. He wants to get the job done here and get himself through to the finals. Amaury Piron, what a fighter. Stands on the pedals, gets down the line. Amaury Piron goes into the lead here in the LCQ by 7/10 though, Josh. It's not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot, and he lost 0.3 of a second in that final. Woods, interesting to see the stress levels right now.
Tell you what a big performance though from not just Amaury Piron, from that team. Here we go, Fernando Juan Munoz. Access, intense factory racing, double mud tyres, and that's your only option up there now, isn't it?
It has to be, and I think a lot of riders were going for a full mud, which means the tyres are a little taller. So a mid-mud, they're not quite as tall, they're nice and widely spaced, whereas a full mud, they're tall. Hold on to it, Leroy.
0.2 of a second back, a split one for Munoz now as he gets away with it. Has a quick look down, though. So the Access team, under the guidance of player manager Joe Breeden, essentially the Intense Cycles factory effort this season. Munoz looking down, no, something looks like it's disappeared.
Yeah, Joe Breeden had a fantastic Q1 today, so something's going on there. He might have got a bit of a huckabuck coming out of that corner.
I wonder if...
There's a bit of a dangle. Oh, is that a mudguard?
Something, it sounds like it's chirping away on the back of that Intense bike. Just looking, it's not one of the gearbox belt-driven prototypes that the team have access to.
Yeah, he's definitely copping something towards the back end there. Something's rubbing. Maybe that rear mudguard's kind of buzzed off.
1.9 back for Munoz now. But speaking of Joe Breeden, what a performance in Q1 from him.
Yeah, what a performance. We saw him late last night, and he said he had to put everything into this Q1 session today. His whole weekend was based around that Q1. That was his finals moment, and he thought if he could qualify, because he's used to riding between that 20 to 30, and he was like, I need to make this. I need to make this Q1 happen. Tomorrow, my finals is tomorrow morning. If I make the main event, if I make Q2, it is what it is, but I need to put it all in, and he did today. With an incredible result.
8th position, Munoz continuing to look down. Chain looks like it's on the bike, maybe a pedal. The pedal just not playing ball. Seems like he can't get his foot into it. Which, given how muddy it is up there.
It's just having a bit of a play now. We look for something flopping around out the back, but maybe that rear mudguard's just broken off a little. Maybe something to do with the shock.
Yeah, it seems to be the right foot that he just can't seem to... It is. I remember it being horrible through that section last year as well. 11.9 back from Munoz yet. Just get it down the line safely. Live to fight another day on this one.
And the realization that it's all over is heartbreaking in a moment like this.
Nico Arnold then from New Zealand leaves the start hut and heads down into his last chance qualifying run as we wait to get 3.8 seconds at split one for Arnold, the big Kiwi.
3:13 from Amaury Piron in the wet.
That's unreal.
Wow.
3:13 from Piron. So that would have put him in around about 24th, 25th position in Q1. But, I mean, that's apples and oranges, really, because the track is completely devastated now, isn't it? It's just so wet and so gutted.
Yeah. It shows how quick Max was actually riding. Max Hanston had the fastest split at the moment through 1, 2, 3. Emery pulled it back in split 4, but lost a little bit of time towards the end. But the stress, the pressure.
And that's a lot to unwind from as well. It's a lot to come back down from and press reset for tomorrow's finals, I guess.
And not to mention he fell from the sky to his buttocks.
Yeah,
on that bottom whale tail. Something happened to Emery. He tucked the front. You may have seen it on our UCI Mountain Bike World Series socials. And then as he came off that second last jump, foot unclipped, and he just ejected to his backside.
Davide Palzari, the Italian national champion for road racing.
Finds a second to pull a roll-off there. So these roll-offs, for those that are not aware, it is a clear film system that has 2 rolls attached to the outside that you can pull a cord, and it simply rolls a fresh layer of vision across the outside of your goggles. So tear-offs is an external plastic piece of lens on the outside that you rip off and dispose of, whereas roll-offs, you can pull a little cord and it rolls a fresh layer of vision, well, not vision, but fresh layer of plastic across your goggles so you can see.
Palzari, bit of a struggle at the start of last season, but best was Leger, 13th place for him. Here's your top 10 so far. Piron, Hartenstern, Platt currently in the top 3. There's another tear-off being pulled by Palzari, or roll-off, excuse me.
Big section here. That Motul corner's up earlier. Really set up the speed you carry throughout all this. And as you exit these rocks into the timing point, that is where all of that speed culminates coming through that massive jump there. We haven't seen anyone jump yet, so maybe a lot of wind up there?
Yeah, potentially. You're kind of back out in the open on the ski piece there, so the wind does tend to travel around that part of the course. But this, honestly, I walked this track late afternoon yesterday, and it looked nothing like it does now. It's been absolutely ravaged by the storm that's rolled through here this afternoon, and has made this first ever last chance qualifier all the more difficult. So he's 1.5 seconds back on the time of the man who currently leads this session, former overall title holder Amaury Piron, who has seemingly managed to gather himself together and seize victory for the jaws of defeat after a big crash in Q1. We were expecting some big names to be caught out, but perhaps not as big as Amaury Piron, but the damage has been limited, and for now, he's through the finals.
Look at that corner. Wow, that was supposed to be the fastest improvement of the track this year. Now they're pedaling all the way around it.
That flatter section, just an absolute, like, riding a downhill bike across a field at the minute. Here we go, this horribly off-camera little left that looks so innocuous on camera, but it'll take you out in a blink of an eye. 3.7 seconds back for Palzari now. Josh, we're going to see your Carlson on course in the show tomorrow. It's up on YouTube at the minute. How much has this changed since you did that? Because it looks like a different thing altogether.
Man, the lines that are on this track right now didn't even exist yesterday. We went down yesterday after time training.
Palzari over the line in 4th place, so 4.9 back, but still good enough for 4th for Palzari. He's through the finals for the time being. Sorry, Josh.
Look at that. Callum Cross, the young Aussie, is in 9th at the moment. He's right on the bubble.
Lucas Cruz for Norco Race Division, the team of Greg Menard.
Yeah, dramatically different out there right now, Rick. I mean, a lot of these lines, the lines that were there yesterday, was quite two-lined. Chatted to Fabian Burrell, Nico Malali, Amaury Piron out on track, and it was very two-lined. Now, there's 1,000 of them.
5.7 seconds back at the second split for Cruz, and moving backwards from his split one time as well on that big Norco.
Good to see him back on the race course. He had a pretty turbulent 2024, had a couple of big injuries. Now he's under the guidance of Greg Menard in that Norco Racing Division team.
Yeah, coming up, trio of Brits, Greenland, Griffiths and Williamson. So if you are just joining us, this is the last chance qualifier from Bielsko-Biala Stark Mountain Resort. First of its kind, 20 riders from Q1 through to finals already. Everyone else, quick hose off, back to the top, and we will take 10 more through. Fastest 10 from this session progress to finals tomorrow.
And the 10, some of the riders we have We've seen Emery Piron come down. We've got Greg Williamson coming up. We've got Loris Vergier. Charlie Hatton had a hugie in Q1. Reese Wilson, Dane Jewett, Kaya Hearn. They need to fight here. Dylan Levesque, Ollie Zoir, Denny Hart. Wow, the list goes on and on here. You just keep on going, and the pressure is going to be on this afternoon.
Let's get the Frenchman then, Luca Lagneau, through this left-hander that is just so rutted out on that zeroed bike. The Marcus Stuckel team, MS Racing on the Kiwi brand this season. Another team going for that belted purse. €100,000 up for grabs for the first elite rider to win the UCI Downhill World Cup on a belt.
Very impressed with how these Zeroed bikes have been handling all week and riding around. They've got such a stable platform underneath them. They've been working with this belt-driven drivetrain for a couple of years now.
Yeah, you've ever ridden one?
I have. I've ridden one from Thornix Wheels back home in Wollongong, and it's been an incredible, incredible sensation. Takes a bit to get used to.
The best way I could describe it, I've ridden a Zero before, is that the back end of the bike feels like a fork.
Yeah.
It feels completely uninhibited. It just works.
Freedom.
Freedom, yeah.
Bit of freedom.
And yeah, interesting to see what that brand will do under the extremely experienced stewardship of Marcus Stuckel. 1.4 back, though, for Luca Lagneau, one of the young riders making a step up into elites. Really, really big, tall, fast Frenchman.
Now, 1.4 back is nothing to sneeze at when you're looking at Emery Piron. Emery Piron could have easily put down a race-winning run here. So we have to check out 1.4, 3.7. He's slightly moving back more and more.
Going to put you on the spot now and ask you percentage-wise, what do you think that is from Piron? What did he put down there? Because you kind of didn't feel like 100%. The ultra-aggressive T-fight Piron we're used to seeing wasn't there, but it had to be good, didn't it?
I think it was good. I think it was reserved. I feel like that, to me, looked quite reserved through the middle section. He wasn't that usual fighting, careless...
5.8 back, sorry, Josh, for Lagneau.
That careless Emery Piron that we've seen during practice during the week. During the week so far in the dry, again, we reference that in the dry, but different now. Emery, Loic, Remy Thirion have looked effortless, a level above everyone else. Whoa!
Oh, something.
Ka-chow! There's that sniper in the woods again. So here we go. Emery Piron, I think it was a controlled run. I think the pressure and the stress of getting through it. He made a mistake. He had to make this happen. He probably knew he was quick enough because he was 2.7 seconds up earlier in the day. He's been riding great all week, but I feel like that was quite a reserved run.
Yeah, so 3:13.7 for Piron leads this session ahead of Max Hartenstern, whose time's holding up. And whenever that happens, whenever a rider early in the order's time continues to hold up, it generally suggests that the track may be moving away slightly in terms of grip and support as we wait to see.
Is that Thomas's stack?
That's not Luca Lagneau, I'll tell you that for free. Next up, Dylan Maples. Commensal mock-off by Riding Addiction. And this is one of those mid-pack riders that you get the feeling has to up their game this season to avoid the LCQ.
One of the first riders to see jump that first step-down double jump there. So have conditions eased, or is Maples just in full fight mode here?
Maples only has full fight mode. He's one of those riders so aggressive.
The difference between Max Hardenstern's run and Emery Piron was that you could see Max at the top was aggressive. He was fighting for it. He was charging every single corner, whereas Emery looked quite reserved.
2 seconds up for Maples here at the minute. It's split free, though, against his teammate. The former overall title holder, Piron, has gone back, but it's still 8/10 to the good.
8/10 back, putting the use to that brand new Schwalbe got down.
Oh.
It's got a bit of 90-90 coming into the Michelin Woods. Calm down. Talking to myself here. Dylan Maples, the young American, charging hard, has had a huge season in 2024, learning the reins.
Is he about to go faster than his teammate, Emery Piron? Dylan Maples fights that Commensal across the line and goes into the lead by 1.3 seconds here at Sturk Mountain Resort.
Wow, that almost throws everything we just said out the window. What's going to happen is Dylan Maples put down a heater.
Intrigue upon intrigue.
Right, it's time to take the jacket off.
The jacket's coming off, the temperature's going up in the booth. It mightn't be at the top, but Laurie Greenland for the Santa Cruz Syndicate heads out into his first ever last chance qualifier.
Goes around the beeline there, so there's a bit of wind at the top. You can see the trees moving around. And just behind there, there is about 4 ruts that are ankle deep going into a 40-foot step down. Do not miss. Laurie Greenland visibly upset with how he rode in Q1 there this morning.
So a reminder, 10 go through the top 10 at the end of this session, but he's 8.8 seconds back off the time of Dylan Maples. Laurie Greenland in trouble here for the Santa Cruz Syndicate.
Let's have a bit of a look, see if he's a little extra dirty on one side. He almost yeets into the bushes. So this is a big one from Laurie Greenland. He's had a big summer. He was down in Australia for Redbull Hardline. He's been working hard to get back to full fitness.
Here we go, though. Reese Wilson. A whole lot of noise made by this man from Gordon and the Scottish Borders this off-season. Set up his new team, Aon Racing. Is aboard one of the most advanced bikes in the pits, the Gamex Sego. What is it going to add up to? Wilson just missed out on a direct route to the finals. He's in the LCQ now, and he is 2 seconds back at split one, but just dropped a foot there off the pedals, pulls the roll off, goes around the gap.
Now, if there's anyone that may feel comfortable in these hectic conditions, it's Reese Wilson, not scared of a bit of slop.
The wetter the better for this man. One of those riders who can just come alive when conditions at their worst. Still battling for visibility, though, as Reese Wilson sets about this course here in Bielsko-Biala.
Yeah, Reese has had a massive off-season setting up that Aon Racing team, the bikes, the development, the partners. It's all linked back to Reese Wilson and the Net Performance crew. So for him to make this final is a big deal this afternoon. Hattie Harnden's through, so one of the 4 riders.
Monica Hrastnik missed out, which isn't something they would have been expecting, but heads across the beam, 4.6 seconds back on that time of Dylan Maples. The top 10 are currently covered by 9.1 seconds, so Wilson is heading into the portion of the track, though, where you get the feeling he will be able to carve out some time. It gets a bit steeper towards the bottom here, and that is just the sort of territory this man enjoys.
Oh. How do you scrub a roll? Oh!
6.6 seconds back. Wilson still inside that 9-second buffer, but needs to keep moving forward here at the bottom of the track.
Interesting. It makes me think that he keeps pulling for that roll-off, that he may have something stuck in his vision that's not quite, maybe his roll-offs aren't exactly lined up with where he's looking for the moment in the mud.
They are very weirdly not designed to work in bad weather roll-off sometimes. But I just saw another rider in shot there, and I wonder if there is an issue for Wilson here. Standing on the pedals up through that little rise. Let's get an update at the next split for Reese Wilson here. Is he going to make it out of the LCQ? As he heads into this horrible off-camber left, still working at that vision, 10.5 seconds. This is outside the top 10 currently then for Wilson.
Oh, the drama. The drama's unfolding in front of our eyes here.
We said this would catch big names out. Is Reese Wilson going to be the first of the big names to be caught out by the LCQ here? Hart, Wayman, Ravelli, Kerr and Roj to follow. As we get the Flying Scotsman down the line, what is he going to stop the clock at? He stops the clock at 3:24.4, 17th for Reese Wilson, 11.9 seconds back, and he knows what that means instantly. Reese Wilson not making it through the finals here in Bielsko-Biala. Next up, though, Danny Hart, a former UCI world champion, double world champion, sets off.
Another young man who will not be scared of the muck. But like we said, it's been a bit of a dry winter here, so maybe he's a little bit rusty.
Another big name.
A huge name in this Q2 qualifier. Reese Wilson not making the finals. That is a headline for Sunday morning.
Wilson not making it through. Can Danny Hart make it through here? There's the timing beam in your shot now. Let's get him down to split one. The red car rocket crosses the line. 6/10 faster than Dylan Maples.
We look outside, it's still pouring with rain at the bottom of the hill, which means the upper section, of course, this course in particular is getting worse and worse. Maybe Dylan Maples may have seen the best of it.
Dylan Maples absolutely through the kitchen sink at that run, and he is sitting pretty currently. Fastest in this session, then it's Perron, Hartenstern, Platt, Hauser, Hatton, Ahern, Tehuto, Enrique Penny, Palazzari and Lehman currently going through.
But Denny Hart's 0.6 up at split one. He's about to pop out of the woods down below here. And we'll see how his split two's going. So if there's one rider who's not scared of a bit of steep and deep in the muck, it is the Champery champion, Denny Hart.
This will play into Hart's strengths from here on down. The wind has kind of dropped now, and we're just getting wetter and wetter. So still 7-10, so he's built a second onto that lead.
Great shot of the difference between a tear-off and a roll-off right there. So Denny, you can see, ripped an entire lens. It's not a lens, it's a piece of plastic film off the outside of his goggles. Bang, your entire goggles are now clear, whereas a roll-off is just an 1.5 inch wide roll that is only visible. So the rest of the goggles are dirty, whereas Denny Hart now has perfectly clear vision as he makes his way to the lower section, 0.7 of a second up.
So,
brand new team.
Danny Hart, he's like 4/10 back, but it's still looking comfortable for inside that top 10 here in Q2.
Oh, it's getting more and more. 0.4 back, so he's lost a little bit of time through that middle section there. Top 10, the time to beat right now is 3:18. Dylan Maples has a 3:12, but 3:18.7 is the cutoff.
Look at the slop on the way into that bridge. Well over tire height now, but Danny Hart, as we have seen year after year, come off the mud, come off the steepness, Danny Hart just gets it done time and time again, and he's 1.5 seconds back on that time off Dylan Maples now, which would bring him out still within the top 3 in this session. Q2.
Yeah, Dylan's had an exceptional split 3 and split 4. You can see up the top section of Dylan's run wasn't too crash hot, but the bottom half was the fastest we've seen. Danny Hart off the Red Bull drop. He's across the line.
Importantly, down safely. Danny Hart across the line into 4th place, so 2.4 seconds back here in Q2.
4th place. Is that going to make it?
It's going to be tight.
Oh,
it's going to be tight. Next up, Henry Kerr. We've seen team captain Reese Wilson not make it through this Q2 session.
Henry Kerr, one of the most talented athletes out there. Had a few injuries over the years and now on this brand new race team setup under the guidance of Reese Wilson.
And he's kept fighting. He's kept fighting year after year. Henry Kerr had a really good run at snowbike at the start of the season last year. Picked up a silver medal there. Henry Kerr, 3.8 seconds back, which would put him in and around the bottom of this top 10 now. So Kerr, another rider needing to rely on all those technical skills. Down the bottom here, Charlie Hatton currently in 7th place, former UCI world champion in this session, so moving towards the drop zone as well. He doesn't want too many more people to head above him in the top 5.
Right now at the cutoff, we've got Luke Way, we've got Loris Ravelli into 10th and Kaya Hearn in 9th, right in the bubble.
And
now,
here is one of the biggest of the big names, Loris Vergier, the reigning UCI world champion in the white and rainbow stripes, is out of the start hut and into Q2 now, and he needs to get through in the top 10 if he wants to make finals. What? 2.3 seconds faster for Loris Vergier.
Did anyone tell Loris the track was a mess?
What a line that was from Loris Vergier. Just threw it off that bank into that left-hand rut. Vergier deciding that attack is the best form of defense here. Is it going to bite him, or is he going to get the job done here in Poland?
2.3 seconds up at split 2, 1.3
now. He's lost a second. Oh,
what is cooking under that Commensal muck-off by Riding Addiction team? All 3 riders are flying on the second half of this track here.
Absolute drama here in Q2 in Poland, the first of its kind. Currently it's Maples, Piron, Hartenstern, Hart, Platt, Hauser, Hatton, Zwar, Ahern, Ravelli going through the finals, but the UCI World Champion is on track and fancies nudging his way into that top 10. But by how far?
So you can see that fluoro light on the front of the handlebars. That is the RockShox flight attendant locking out and adjusting that suspension for when they're pedaling, when they're on the flat, when they're on the rough. There's a couple of built-in automatic settings
1.2 now
on that bike where it can automatically adjust as you're pedaling along the flat.
1.2 seconds for Loris Vergier, faster than that fastest time currently set by Dylan Maples. Much less aggressive through there. Vergier just on his heels, dancing down this really steep section, goes over to the rider's right. Just drag the brakes through it, got down safely, now heads across the gap, swings right, heads towards the line, heading towards the top 10 here, Loris Vergier. Loris Vergier crosses the line, goes fastest by 6/10, and that would look to be job done for the UCI World Champion. Again though, What a huge, huge performance here in Q2 for Vergier.
Can we say he's in the final? I don't know. There's so many big names to come, but Loris looked really comfortable out there. That was a wild run, but he looked aggressive. He charged. You could see he wanted that. Bit of aggression that we haven't seen from Loris in a while.
Another one. Deep breath here. Finn Isles on the bubble. Needs a top 10 result in this Q2 session to progress to the finals.
Finn Isles, he was able to join us for our Carlson on course this week, presented by Specialized Gravity Racing. So he knows this track. He's just dropped the foot there on that really slippery outside corner. That rut there had so many rocks and roots in it. It was crucial to feed it throughout this entire next section. Oh, look at the rain teeming down. Vision will be an issue on this course coming down below.
Isles, one of the most aggressive riders in downhill. Half a second back at split one here in Q2.
Now, half a second back is not the end of the world on a track like this. 0.1 of a second matters.
But there is a lot of track left to play with here in Poland. Can the Canadian turn the lights green, or is he going to go further back on that new Specialized, which just wanted out from underneath him there, but Isles held the rudder straight.
Now, speaking of turbulence, look at the Specialized pits. Loic Bruni qualified first from our Q1, but Finn Isles missed out, and so did Jordan Williams. So quite a swing of emotions under that same tent.
Bruni told us earlier in the weekend that this Q2, this new look format is something they have practiced for, they've prepared for, but there is no preparation for the pressure cooker that is race day. Whoa. Here at the UCI Downhill World Cup, but it's 1.2 back now for Finn Isles. Isles, just a whisper of trouble beginning to creep into this run.
Interesting, the different lines there. Loris Vergier went high, jumped out, whereas Finn is chasing that bank, chasing that speed. So there's so many lines to choose from. It has evolved so much just in the last hour. What is going to unfold tomorrow? Double out, scrub over.
He needs to be within 3.8 seconds currently of the fastest time to make it through. 46.7, he's 1.6, so he's lost 0.4 of a second, but he's still within that margin of error. But it's so complicated to know if this is going to add up to enough from Finn Isles.
LeRon. Oh, you can feel the stress. Look at him peering up the hill there. Finn Isles on track.
You can see just how tough the run into that bridge section is. As you say, Josh, at the start of it, everybody looked at that section and went, oh, that's so much faster now. But at the minute, it's like pedaling through one of your worst nightmares. Finn Isles, though, only one UCI World Cup win to his name so far. Mont Saint Anne a couple of years ago. He's got his career number now off the back of that win.
Which is incredible. Winning one World Cup is exceptional, and there's not many people in the world who can say that.
2.2 seconds back. So just a reminder, 3.8 seconds currently covering that top 10 that he needs to be inside if he wants to qualify. That's Specialized in the finals tomorrow through the steepest part of the track. Hangs a foot off, heads across the gap, heads into the final corner. Finn Isles, is he going to do it? Is he going to make the finals here in Poland? 5th place. 2.7 seconds back, so 1.1 second inside that top 10. Josh, is that going to be enough?
No. Remy Meyer-Smith just got bumped, so did Kaya Hearn and Ollie Zoir. Charlie Hatton is in 10th place, our 2023 world champion. This is amazing.
Troy Brosnan now for Canyon Collective, the winner of the last round of the UCI Downhill World Cup in Mont Saint Anne. 4 UCI Downhill World Cups to his name, is 0.3 of a second back at that first split on the brand new Canyon.
Brand new Canyon that Troy had an integral part in designing. He asked them for specifics and they delivered. They built him a race-winning bike. Christian Hauser has already sent her down the hill. He's 3.4 back. Look at the times, 3.4, 3.4, 3.3.
3.4 seconds then is the margin of error that Troy Brosnan has behind Loris Vergier's time, and it's now 0.8 of a second back. So, can the man from Adelaide keep it cool, hang it together, and I mean, to say the man from Adelaide, one of the best mud riders in the world, Troy Brosnan, on his day.
No, I would say he's one of the best mountain bike riders in the world, whether it's mud, dry, dust, jumps. He came over to Tasmania. Well, he went down to Tasmania from Adelaide earlier in the year and tested his mettle against some of the biggest jumps he's ever done in his entire life and put it to the young pups, he calls them.
0.2 of a second back for Troy Brosnan.
What?
What? Troy Brosnan.
Settle down, Troy. Where'd that even come from?
When the pressure's on, popping out of the corner across all those routes, and that is why we love watching this man race. What is Split 4 going to tell us after that from Brosnan? Still finding line, still finding time up there.
Carrying good speed through there. Troy's not scared of a bit of a pedal.
One of the best power to weight ratios the sport has ever seen. Brosnan, top 10, now covered by 3.4 seconds. So Brosnan has a margin of error, but whenever you're as good as Troy Brosnan, you do not deal in margins of error. 3.96 tenths back.
3.9 back, so he's just 100th back. He's still in second on track with that big, iconic career number 3 on his back now.
Given how awful this track is cutting up and how bad the conditions are, Troy Brosnan is inside to see him half second as the man who currently leads this Q2 session. Troy Brosnan pops over the final gap, crosses the line, and he takes the lead by 0.2 of a second, just as we'd wound it back a bit, Carlson.
Troy, stop doing this for us, will you? He did this in Monster Air, now he does it again. Troy Brosnan, impressive to see. Now, don't forget, this is a good insight to tomorrow's racing. The third member of the Specialized Gravity race here, Jordan Williams, our Lenzerheide 2023 World Cup winner.
Jordan
he bowed
Williams.
out in injury in 2024.
Nearly 0.3 of a second up as he crosses the line. Williams goes into third by 3, so he lost over half a second in that final part to Troy Brosnan. You cannot take your eyes off this. This is one of the closest sessions we've had at any stage.
Let's just take a second to look at the top 5 of qualification 2. Troy Brosnan, Loris Vergier, Jordan Williams, Dylan Maples, Emery Piron. Now, Dylan hasn't won a World Cup yet, but everyone else in that top 5 are names that we would have picked for the World Cup win here in Bielsko-Biala.
Top 5 covered by under 2.5 seconds on a track that has been absolutely destroyed by wind and rain. The last 2 days, Jackson Goldstone is now down. He's in 8th. Finn Isles in 7th place. Ahead of him, Finn Isles on the bubble. Oh!
Out the front door, thanks for coming. Oh, my goodness.
Going to... That's not how you want to do that. As we see now a montage of just...
Watch this line
aggressive.
here, Rick. Over the tree root, free falling to grip that is not there.
Did you see the angle he landed at and just swung his hips off the inside of the bike and forced it to grip through there? Absolutely spellbinding stuff from Loris Vergier. Here's that crash that started happening about 20 minutes before it got going. Oh,
the young American.
Plenty more off them. Don't worry about it.
Incredible.
So, just to recap then, the top 10 through the finals tomorrow. Troy Brosnan, Loris Vergier, Jordan Williams, Dylan Maples, Emery Piron, Max Hartenstern, first man down the hill, lives to 6th place. Finn Isles, Jackson Goldstone, Danny Hart, and Dom Platt squeaks it through. Walker, Hauser, Hatton misses out, Meyer Smith misses out. What a time we have had here at the first ever Q2 session. UCI Downhill World Cup Racing. Plenty of racing coming straight at you tomorrow from Sturk Mountain Resort here in Bielsko-Biala. Josh Carlson and I are going for a lie down. That was hectic.
I'm not even mad about it.
There we go. Brosnan, Vergier, Williams, Maples, Piron, Hartenstern, Isles, Goldstone, Hart and Platt live to fight another day. 3.5 seconds covering them. They're the top 10 from Q2. They are going through to finals tomorrow. First rider to miss out, Matt Walker, then it's Hauser, Charlie Hatton, former UCI world champ, Remy Meyer-Smith, Zwar, Kuhn, Ahern, Ravelli, Wayman making his elite level debut, Jacob Dixon, Penne, Castellanos, Liberal, Levesque, Jack Pearce in 31st, Dean Dewitt 32nd, Greg Williamson standing in at Mondraker Factory Racing misses out 34th, Reese Wilson in 40th, not the result he came here for. Big names missing out on finals racing tomorrow, but some huge performances from some huge riders. We get to see the elite women's results then. So 5 of them will progress through to finals from Q2. 10, of course, went through straight away from their Q1 session. So Bauman, Newkirk, Vidman, Gale and Bouladou progress. Krasnik misses out in what hasn't been a good day for Aon Racing. Clavel, Farina, Parton and Ernest will not go any further. Hastings, Van der Velden, Bonor, Ronning, Jonsep, Ferguson, Emily Carrick Anderson missing out in 17th. Valentina Roa Sanchez, MS Racing, another team who will not be happy with this afternoon's performances. Hoagie and Kadlikova, who got us going at the start of this one. Well, as the rain continues to fall, that is all she wrote at the end of the first ever Q2 UCI Downhill World Cup here in Bielsko-Biala. Adrian Day watches on. That was superbly entertaining, and I am looking forward to a lot more of those, Josh.
That was amazing, and a great indication of what's to come tomorrow. So remember, those riders will only be 21 to 30. So Troy will drop number 21, our 30th place rider, our first rider on track tomorrow will be Dom Platt. Well, if that is anything to go by, tomorrow is going to be breathtaking.
It is going to be a busy old one here in the booth tomorrow. Please join us for it just as soon as you can. Thanks for watching. That's all from Sturk Mountain Resort for now. Tomorrow is a brand new day, and we cannot wait to bring it to you. Junior women's downhill final getting us underway at 11:30 Central European time. Then it's racing all afternoon, culminating 2 o'clock. Elite men's downhill finals, 1 o'clock for the elite women. And then high noon, midday, junior men. Thanks for watching. We'll see you there.